Well, it's February, so it took us a minute to get around to doing this, but neither of us have shared or posted our top 10 movies of 2019 because we wanted to give each other a little surprise in terms of which movies we picked on our top 10 list. So I'm Joseph Pieken, and that's Robert Tilden, and we're here to talk about our top 10 favorite movies of 2019 here on NPR.
Yes, where we talk like there's a sleeping baby right next to us.
We can't wake him, so now is a good time to talk about Hobbs and Shaw.
Right, both number one on our list.
Mm-hmm. All right, so do you want to start out with your honorable mentions, and then we'll get into mine, and we'll take it from there. Because I want to know what didn't make your list now.
So I'm gonna go from best to worst on my honorable mentions. So it goes from like really good but just didn't barely make it to fun but not anything to write home about, but I still enjoyed it. So here's my honorable mentions: ROCKETMAN, Avengers Endgame, Toy Story 4, Hustlers, Us, Ford v Ferrari, Joker, Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker, Alita Battle Angel, John Wick 3, Spider-Man Far From Home, Detective Pikachu, and Glass.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you how many of those movies made my list?
Like your honorable mentions? Or
no,
like
my top 10, yeah.
How many?
2.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 of them made mine. All right.
I figured it wouldn't be a whole lot.
Okay, so let's get into my honorable mentions, which has a couple of hot takes in there, and there's one of them where you're gonna be like, Joe, how the fuck did that not make it onto your list? So we're gonna start from the bottom and go up. So we've got Long Shot, which I thought was like kind of underrated, but it's fun. It was dirtier than I expected, but I enjoyed it. And then Spider-Man Far From Home, El Camino, The Farewell, Hobbs and Shaw, Toy Story 4, Detective Pikachu, Ready or Not, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Avengers Endgame, Bombshell, Honey Boy, Taxi Driver 2019, Climax, Alita, Booksmart, Loose, Knives Out, Dr. Sleep, and The Irishman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. Those are my honorable mentions.
Okay. And by Taxi Driver 2019, I know you mean Joker.
Joker,
but for the uninitiated at home.
Yeah. I was just being salty. So how many of those movies made your top 10 of the year?
I think just The Irishman.
Just The Irishman, so Knives Out didn't make it?
I fucking forgot about Knives Out.
You did?
Shit.
Oh. That's...
I don't know if I liked it any more than any of my top 10, though. Because it's a really fun movie, but...
Is it on your honorable mentions, then?
No, I just forgot about it. It'd be at the top of my honorable mentions. We'll put that there for now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm shocked that that's not on there, then, because
I just forgot about it.
You loved it.
It didn't come up on...
Darn.
Google.
Okay. Do you want to start out with your number 10?
Sure. My number 10 is A Hidden Life.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It has a lot of editing issues in the first act, but once it gets over that, it's really, really touching, and it has some of the best cinematography I've ever seen in my whole life, and I really want to watch it again, but I don't know when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Is it a lot more plot-based than like the other Terrence Malick stuff where he just sort of makes like a dream?
Yes.
Okay,
no,
cool.
They actually have a script. Yeah. It's just, it has that very swooshy, like he put the camera on a monopod and then just like rocked it. He has a couple of those things.
Yeah,
so
he likes to do that.
It's very dreamlike shot wise, but but he doesn't overdo it, and it's just beautiful.
Okay,
I'd probably give it like an 8.5.
8.5. Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see it. I just didn't have the time when it was playing, and then all the Best Picture stuff came out, and they started playing that.
It was
instead
in theaters
of
for like 2 days.
Yeah,
you'll like it more than like Night of Cups and all that.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not Badlands, but it's
gotcha.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
So my number 10 is equally as profound. It's Hustlers. So that Hustlers is probably the biggest surprise in terms of all of the 2019 movies, because I remember seeing the trailer and literally their marketing slogan was Avengers Endgame of female actors or something like that. And the trailers made it look like this really cringy comedy that I wouldn't really like, starring Cardi B and a little bit of Jennifer Lopez.
Right. Well, if you look up the trailer, there's just a still of Cardi B as the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So you know where the marketing went, was aimed anyway.
And she's in the movie for like 5 minutes probably.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
It's like, for me, it felt like, it's sort of like what I wish Todd Phillips did with his movies, where it definitely had like the Scorsese like elements in it, but it didn't feel like the primary function of the movie. And another thing I didn't really expect was how creatively shot and edited the movie was, because there are a lot of sequences that definitely move forward with a lot of energy, and like 2 really specific moments that had really creative sound design that really kind of blew me away.
Using the I can't think of it.
Like the bug in her
the bug
in her
mic,
shirt,
as the only audio on the movie.
And,
it's genius.
Yeah, and I thought that all the characters were very well developed, and they did a good job getting you to understand all of them. And I thought a lot of the music choices were also very good, and I thought the editing was definitely like a snub for best editing at the Oscars, because the movie moves very fast. And I don't know. I loved it a lot, and so it made my top 10.
And I like what you said about the Martin Scorsese thing. This director just watched Martin Scorsese movies and said, I want to do that with my own story, instead of, I want to do that exactly beat for beat. It was its own thing.
I haven't seen another movie quite like it, and I didn't think I'd be saying that coming out, but it's like there are a couple moments of that movie that like actually made me sad because of what the characters are going through. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it because I don't think many people saw it, because they sort of like dismissed it as the Cardi B stripper movie, but it's definitely like way more than that.
No, it's really good.
And there's some like long takes in that movie too that are really impressive. And another thing was like the humor landed a lot too, which is like, didn't expect that, because I expected to like pander towards younger people.
It would be like Fate of the Furious humor.
Yeah, no, it was like genuinely funny and well thought out. So Hustlers is my number 10.
That's solid.
What's your number 9, Robert?
My 9 is Dragged Across Concrete.
Okay.
Because that movie fucking slaps.
It's really good.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It's really brutal. Like it's really brutal.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts about that movie is how they introduce that woman about halfway through, just for the sake of doing something to her later.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't want to go into detail.
No,
I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
no one has seen it.
The only people I know who have seen it is you and the Lyft driver and name again?
S. Craig Zoller is the director.
Zoller.
Yeah.
It's
and probably the best Mel Gibson's been in a long time. He rocks. And then forgetting like, it's one of the the black getaway drivers in the movie. I'm forgetting his name, but he's like the other main character. His performance in that movie rocks as well. He's the one that opens up the movie. I don't know the name of the actor. I don't think I've seen him in anything before, but his performance...
It's really good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I like the whole different sides of the story thing. Like, they all have the same goal, but they're coming at it different ways.
Yeah.
And you just kind of don't know who to
It's really brilliant screenwriting.
Yeah.
And definitely a snub for original screenplay at the Oscars, because I think it should have been up for it. But
it should have been nominated at least.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
What's your number 9?
My number 9 is The Lighthouse.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So I won't say much about it because you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But just picture a movie where like the things that drive it forward are like dream sequences with like naked mermaids and octopuses and Willem Dafoe screaming about cooking lobster for about an hour and 40 minutes. And it is the definition of a fever dream. Like, I was discomforted while watching it. The soundtrack rocks. The cinematography is gorgeous. Willem Dafoe, it's tough to say it because it's like he's good in everything, but this is definitely up there in terms of his performances, because he basically plays the sea captain from The Simpsons, but in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's entertaining, it's funny, it's disturbing, it's pretty much everything I wanted it to be, and I really can't say I've seen anything else quite like it, so you should watch it.
And the fact that they use like cameras from the 20s to film it is
which is insane.
Absolutely
and
insane.
They built a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Just for making it, and they had to like green screen in seagulls because of like animal rights violations in the area that they were filming it in, because they like trained seagulls in England were like illegal or something, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
But since you haven't seen it, I won't talk about it much more. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is 1917.
Okay.
Which I thought was brilliant.
I did too.
I don't think it's the best movie of the year, but
we haven't talked about it all that much.
No.
So I really only know that you thought it was pretty, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So what did you like about it?
I'm amazed about the performances.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everybody's talked about the whole one-shot thing, but the fact that these guys are, I hate the term nobodies, but they're unknowns.
They're not nobodies anymore.
They're not widely known.
Yeah.
But their performances are just like, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a really heartbreaking scene, and they both
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They both play off each other really, really well in a scene where it could have just been, very typical.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm going.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the scene you expect in that type of movie where there's two lead characters.
And it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And the whole movie feels like that. That you don't ever think, oh, they're not struggling to get where they need to go. It's always, you're just more and more on the edge of your seat. They keep the audience interested, and there's times where the cinematography does take a front seat, and like when he's running through this town and the lights are like going through.
It's one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in any movie. Yeah.
But the cinematography isn't the only good thing about it. That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Because there's some movies that are like that people give way too much credit just because it looks pretty.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. It just does everything really fucking well.
Okay. It's also my list, so I'm not going to say much about it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I didn't know if it would be on your top 10 because we literally talked about it like maybe once. Because I saw it, and you went, it's gorgeous. I went, okay.
Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
So what's your number 8?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my number 8.
Yeah.
I know you're going to talk about this later, so I'll keep it very short.
Yeah.
Originally, it was like in my top 15, but then I got it on Blu-ray and I watched it a bunch of times, and I went, you know what? I really love this movie, and I can't really express why, because it's literally the definition of if somebody went, I really like this year, so I'm going to make like a lazy Sunday afternoon about 3 different characters in this year that I'm obsessed with, and I will get every detail right.
Yeah. Well, it's a movie for a lazy Sunday afternoon, but it's just a typical workday for all these guys.
It is,
with their own obscure LA lives.
Yeah.
Because that's the beautiful thing about living in LA, is everybody has their own experience living there.
Exactly, and it's like he really did capture that very well.
Yes.
And Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I gotta say, because it's like
beautiful.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio's movie for sure, but it's like he steals every.
He's been winning everything. He just won a BAFTA.
He's gonna win the Oscar, and it's like well deserved.
Yeah.
Like everything he did in that movie was perfect.
The fact that I forgot it was Brad Pitt is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Because you hear so much about him, and I wasn't even that big of a Brad Pitt guy before I saw it.
And
like
now
I've seen
are.
Fight Club or whatever, and now I'm like, he's my hero.
And it's because it's like another thing. It is a hangout movie, but like the thing that sets it apart from other hangout movies for me is all the Sharon Tate stuff, because it adds like this ticking clock to it. Because you can tell like Tarantino had like an appreciation for like the idea of Sharon Tate and who she was, and it's really weird because it's like you can tell Tarantino's excited about all of it, and even if you aren't into like 60s Hollywood era, like his excitement's infectious, and it really comes across.
Right.
And so it's like it's this Sunday afternoon in 6 months, their lives are going to be completely different, and that's just what makes it very special. Is like it's a hangout movie, but with like a sense of tension, and time is fleeting, and that's
and the whole thing about saving Sharon Tate, instead of exploiting her death, which another movie this year unfortunately did that, which is just rubbing salt in the wound of a very unfortunate death.
Oh God, yeah.
And it means so much that I sound like I'm crying. I lost my voice yesterday, and it's coming back. He saves her, and then on top of that, the people who killed her get absolutely fucked in this movie,
annihilated.
Yeah, and it's I love it's a love letter to Hollywood, and it's a love letter to 1969, but it's also a love letter to the people who died too early because of crazy people, and what he would have done in that situation, or what he wished had happened, or what everybody wished had happened, because Sharon was such an icon.
Like what I've heard like about like when she died is like beforehand everyone was kind of like open, you know, my house is also your house, let me give you a ride here, but like after that happened everything became very closed doored, and like that sort of age of everyone sort of trusting each other a little bit too much like ended because they were able to literally waltz inside of her house because the front door was unlocked. But you're going to talk about it more later, so which number are we on now?
I'm on 7.
What's your number 7, Robert?
My number 7 is Parasite.
That movie's really good.
It is insanely good.
What'd you like about it?
I liked the story because the story is bananas and it's very original, but it has just enough weirdness to where you're kind of on board, and it has a good sense of humor to it, and it also says a lot, and it's also very entertaining and serious and funny, and it literally does everything you want a good screenplay to do and more. And the acting is fantastic, and the cinematography is fantastic, and everything is fantastic, and it's a perfect movie. And the set design, the flooding, how that was on a sound stage.
Oh, I thought the entire thing was on location, and then they flooded the neighborhood, and I went, how did you do that on location?
Yeah, and they didn't.
Yeah, because like for me, it's like it's honestly easier to make a reality that doesn't exist, like Midsummer, which we'll both get to later probably
pretty soon.
Yeah, like that's something that doesn't really exist, so it's like really you can do whatever you want.
It's based off some festivals, but
whereas with Parasite they had to basically go, here's reality, we're just copying it. And if something
South Korea is a real country. Like, it's a real place.
Yeah, if something was like out of place, even though we don't live there, we would have noticed. Because it's like, like their little house or hut that's underground or whatever feels like that family would live there and no one else. And it just feels like a natural set design. And it's just like...
And the way they naturally have the, I mean, it's very realistic. I love how the family, they scramble to the bathroom because that's where the Wi-Fi is best, and that's like something that people would actually do.
They have like the toilet up, like lifted, because that's how like sewage would work if your neighborhood was like further down the slope. And it's just like nothing takes you out of it.
No.
And it's like the contrast between that and like the park manor or whatever you want to call it is, I love the set design
and
of that
I love
house.
what the director said about the subtitles. He's like, once you get over that 1-inch barrier, there's so much more that opens up to you. And last year I started watching foreign, and I need to watch more. There is one more foreign on my list, or at least
I think Parasite's probably going to get the Best Picture Oscar.
Which I would be okay with. I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's it's deserving.
Yeah.
There's just, it's so detailed.
No other foreign movie has won, and I really can't think of one other than Roma that like should have won, you know, over the American stuff nominated. And
well, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, that should have won. That was stupid.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah. All right.
What's your number 7?
Little Women.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Okay, so this was like another big surprise for me, because if you told me that like a new Little Women movie would make me cry twice while watching the movie, I would have said bullshit. Because when I heard Greta Gerwig was doing Little Women after Lady Bird, I was like, so we're not doing like another original screenplay, because other than a couple flukes in Lady Bird, you were real good at that, you know? And so I was like, that's a little weird, because Little Women has been made like 4 or 5 times, so how much can you do that hasn't been done? And all of that was like proven wrong, because one thing, if you didn't know, she tells the story out of order to really highlight the character growth and development. So basically all of these actresses have to play this character when they're like 14 and then an adult. And the hair and makeup team somehow made it all work to the point where I like bought into it. Which, if you told me that before I saw it, and you told me, Joe, you're gonna buy into the fact that Florence Pugh is 14 for most of this movie, I'd be like, no, I won't. Then I saw the movie, and I completely bought into it. And then another thing it does very well is the cinematography, because both of the timelines have very like distinctive color palettes, because it only tells you about the timeline switch once, and then it's all visual with how she tells you which point of the story it's at. And it never really got convoluted for me, and it kept the story really engaging, and it was just a new way to tell it, because the only way it's been told is in chronological order.
Right.
But I did not expect to be so emotionally invested in Little Women. And after seeing it, I kind of get why she decided to adapt this story for today's audiences. But since you haven't seen it, I recommend it.
Yeah.
You'd probably really like it.
It's still in theaters. I'm going to go
You
it
should.
soon.
But yeah, I did not expect it to be on my list at all.
Well, and I know it's not Greta. I mean, when her last movie came out, Lady Bird, like obviously it's her first feature. Like, you know, the fact that it was as good as it was is amazing. But we weren't nutting over it like everybody else was.
No, we weren't. It's like
it's a great movie.
It is.
I give it like a 9 out of 10.
It's just like I have a couple problems with where she took certain characters, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still really good.
And I didn't like Timothée Chalamet's performance in it.
He's great in Little Women, by the way. Yeah. But I don't know. I was like, it felt like she was going backwards and making something Oscar baity, but she didn't. So that's why I like Little Wayman. Little Wayman.
Well, speaking of Florence
What's
Pugh,
your number 6?
My number 6 is Midsommar.
I like that movie.
That's a wonderful, wonderful movie, and I did not think I would like it even a little bit.
Fun for the whole family.
But I liked it a lot.
What did you like about it?
I like how it's totally fucking bananas.
Bananas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not a horror movie. It's not one thing. It's everything. Mm-hmm. At different times and sometimes at once, and I don't even know what to say about it. We've both seen it. We could go on about it, but I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, we could.
But it's just like, I don't know what to say. It's just insane.
I don't get why it's not up for more Oscars. Because
okay, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
The cinematography is insane. It's so good.
The screenplay, though, because it's like what he was able to accomplish with that is like really undermined by almost everyone I've talked to it, like in detail about. Because I've talked to people and they're like, oh, I felt like the movie was a bit shallow. And I'm like, it's a breakup drama framed with folk horror narrative elements. And it's like that hasn't been done before. No. And so it's like the fact that it's not even like in conversation for a lot of people's top 10 lists is just kind of ridiculous to me.
What did you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
What have you seen like this?
What he was able to accomplish was something that no one has done before. Ever. Because there's never been like a breakup horror movie like that.
No.
And I wouldn't even really call it a horror movie.
No, I wouldn't either. It's disturbing.
It is.
It's not a horror movie.
But they don't film any of the disturbing stuff like it's a disturbing scene. It's like this weird like ease into a culture, you know?
Right.
It's like
this is just what these people do.
And it's a fictional culture too, but it feels real. Right. And I don't know how he did it.
Like the old people jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
Like it's gross.
It is.
But it's pronounced like it's sacred. It's filmed like it's sacred.
Yeah.
And you take it in like that.
You do.
And you take it in from Florence Pugh's perspective, where she's seeing that, because she's thinking about her parents and everything, and so because you pointed this out, I didn't think about it. I was just like, oh, it was a fun movie, but because you've seen it like 5 times.
I've seen it a couple times.
I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
But you're watching you're experiencing it through Danny's eyes.
You are, yeah.
And so you're calmed through even the really gross scenes if you're taking the movie seriously, which you should be.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of people didn't take Hereditary seriously. At least like mainstream, and the same thing happened to this movie, where it's like they're for a very specific type of person. It's just those types of like I don't really get the reaction that most people had to Midsommar, because it was like Hereditary was polarizing. Midsommar, a lot of people saw it and they're like, yeah, Hereditary was better.
Yeah.
And that's been like the general consensus, and I'm like, I don't really know why they're not put on the same playing field. Because
I love Hereditary, but I don't really feel like I have the need to buy it. I don't need to watch it a million times. But Midsommar, I want to watch again because there's so much.
He accomplished something like very unique with both movies that I haven't really seen before. But there you go.
And I'm excited for his musical
because he's apparently doing that.
Yeah.
Can you guess what my next movie is?
Is it Midsommar?
No, it's ROCKETMAN.
Oh,
ROCKETMAN made my list.
It just barely didn't make mine. I need to rewatch it. It's been so long.
It's incredible. I love ROCKETMAN with a passion. Taron Egerton, his performance is insanely good. Like
he went all out.
He did. It's extremely committed, and it's everything I wanted Bohemian Rhapsody to be.
Yes.
And I haven't seen anything like it. Like most of these movies on my list it's
the fact that it was also a musical is like insane.
It's a hard R jukebox musical, which I just haven't been done before, because there's like a whole sequence where he's singing while he's overdosing on pills, and then he goes out on a stage and he's smiling, and it's like that entire sequence just blew my mind.
It's presented like realistically, other than the singing. That was the crazy thing. It wasn't like it just was like this flashy, like it turned into Little Shop of Horrors or something like that. Like it was a biopic through and through, but then it was just also
just
a musical.
had fun being Elton John's life, because it's like it's very much so like an emotional representation of who Elton John is as a person in the form of a movie.
At his core, he's very musical and he's very joyous.
It blew my mind.
Despite everything he's been through.
I loved everything about it.
Yeah,
and
I did too.
I bawled like a baby at the end of it, and it's just I thought it would be fun, judging by the trailers. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, and how high caliber it was, because it's honestly one of my favorite movie musicals I've ever seen, because it's weird, it's audacious, it's kind of raunchy at times. Like, it's literally if Elton John was a movie. And I loved it.
That's how you do it, you know. And it's inspiring too. I felt like I had more pep in my step after I saw it. It makes you want to be yourself more.
It's crazy.
It's really good.
It makes you feel good. It's everything a good movie should be, and it was my number one for quite some time. And then
there wasn't a whole lot of competition in the first half of the year.
No, there definitely wasn't, because it was like Avengers Endgame and Rocketman.
Right, that was about it.
Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your number 6 is next?
No, my number 5 is next.
What's your number 5?
My number 5, I had a hard time debating whether I liked it more than Midsommar, but it's like comparing Prometheus and Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
What is it?
My number 5 is Jojo Rabbit.
Oh boy.
I love Jojo Rabbit. I think it's absolutely insanely good, and it should be in the Criterion Collection for the scene with the butterfly alone.
Oh yeah. It's an honorable mention I forgot to talk about.
Oh, fuck you.
It's not on my list.
Wow.
So you can talk about it for a bit.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it's just so
it's crazy good.
it handles the fragility of life without shoving the whole Jews died in your face. I don't know how to explain it.
It's weird.
It doesn't make
It's like if you made a coming-of-age story about a Nazi who didn't want to be a Nazi. And there's something really beautiful about that.
Yeah.
And a
Nazi who doesn't realize he doesn't want to be a Nazi. He doesn't realize what he's doing is bad.
Yeah, it's like literally a very perfect definition of how I feel about most people, where it's like you have to take into account how they were like brought up. Because it's like anyone can believe something because they were told to believe it as a kid, and then they can realize that belief might be wrong, and that's what that movie is like in a nutshell. And it's really pretty. And I like the use of David Bowie's music at the end when they're both dancing. Like it's gorgeous.
I love how he found the German spoken versions of so many songs. Like it opens with "I Want to Hold Your Hand," which is like one of the most purest rock songs
while you're
ever
seeing
made.
footage of Hitler raises. It's a ballsy movie, man. That movie shouldn't have worked.
No, it shouldn't have worked at all.
That's what baffles me about it, is you shouldn't find a movie about
shouldn't be good at all.
A Nazi child touching.
Yeah.
But you do.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It just
I liked how isolated it was, because a lot of those World War II movies try to make it so grand. And of course, the Holocaust was a terrible, terrible thing, but it looks at it in the mind of just these normal everything's jolly and great. We're Nazis. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But his mom is in the know, and she has that sense of right that Jojo doesn't have yet because he's too young. But we see him get that through his mom and through the Jew that she's hiding. And it's like, oh, so just because this was presented as good by people that I like doesn't mean that being a Nazi is actually the right thing to be, just as a way of life.
I gotcha.
And then being I love the scene where they were on the bikes and you saw all the people that made fun of him riding home, and they were very wounded.
It was fantastic.
And that was like his, and he, that was that was like the start of when he was realizing maybe this is not a great idea. Yeah. And then everything just goes downhill from there. But but then it kind of goes back up.
Since we're doing like light spoilers. One of my favorite scenes in the film is probably Sam Rockwell's final scene.
Yes. That was fantastic.
Sam Rockwell is one of the best actors working today. Yes. And in a split second, I felt like sympathy for his character, even though I definitely shouldn't have. No. And the movie really does act as... It's another movie where it's like, if it came out a couple years from now, I'm like, maybe it isn't so relevant. But especially in the U.S. right now, it's a very hateful time with the person we have in office. And so it was like a really touching thing where it's like, please don't hate people. Learn to accept people as they are, because we can, you know, work it out if we just talk to each other.
Yeah.
And that's really how I took the movie. And that's what good movies do, is they're a mirror of our day and age, you know? And that's what Jojo Rabbit is. And it's fantastic.
Well, the beautiful thing with Sam Rockwell's last scene is it was like he kind of realized he was in the wrong too, and that he never really wanted to be where he was, and it was sending Jojo off to fix our mistakes, be better than us. You're the next generation. We did what we did. You
but he realized it too late, and that's why it's heartbreaking.
But sometimes that just happens. But the beautiful thing is he's like, well, I can make it right by making sure Jojo is free. And that's the beauty of that scene.
Beautiful.
It's fantastic.
I usually don't like Rebel Wilson, but I really liked her.
She was good in that
She
movie.
was. I usually don't really care for her, but I liked her there.
She doesn't choose great projects.
No,
but when you're under Taika Waititi's direction, it's probably pretty hard to not be good.
The kid acting in that movie too.
Holy Jesus!
Like
way too good.
I don't know where Taika finds his kid actors.
No, I don't either.
Because like Hunt for the Wilder People, like that main kid that was also in Deadpool 2 is incredible in Hunt for the Wilder People.
He's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know where he finds these kids, but
and you see him in interviews too, and they're not like super pretentious, because that's the thing about a lot of those child actors, and you're like, you see them in these movies and they're awesome, and then you watch them in interviews and they're like the biggest dick bags on the planet.
It's like he just
I don't ever want to hear from you ever again.
It's like he just plucked kids off the street and he's like, yeah, you're good in the movie.
Right.
You
got the face for it.
Yeah, you good.
He's not what he sounds like at all. He's not from Brooklyn. He's from
He's gonna be in the motion picture.
Hey, it's me, Taika Waititi. What's good? I'm walking here.
Hey, what number are we on? Sorry.
I'm on 4. You need to give me your number 5.
Dragged Across Concrete is my number 5.
We already talked about it.
We did.
What do you like about it?
What do I like about it?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, if you didn't know, I like slow burns.
Yes.
And it is the slower movie, because it's literally, you can feel it building towards something, but it never lets you know what it is until it's there in the third act. Because literally the entire first 2 acts of the movie are Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson driving around in a car eating sandwiches with a little camera going, something's funky. But for some reason it's like investing, because you have those like hooded figures going around like machine gunning people down, prepping for this heist.
Right, but that's the weird thing. It's like, it's slow, but you don't know it's slow unless you're like looking at the time. It's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's a long movie, but you don't really know it until you go, oh wait, an hour. If you go an hour in, they're only at this point. It feels like that's only like 15 minutes.
I had the same experience with The Irishman when I was skimming through the timeline on Netflix just to sort of see where everything was happening. And there was a bit where he like has all the guns on the bed.
Yes.
And I thought that was like 20 minutes into the movie. It's like 2 hours into the movie.
Yeah, how do you think that's 20 minutes in?
It sucked me in, buddy.
Yeah.
I really liked The Irishman.
I did too.
Yeah.
It's high, but like I don't know.
Like,
I'm a drummer, so I have a better sense of time. But
I didn't feel the runtime until he was old.
Yeah. Yes.
But back to Dragged Across Concrete.
That hurt.
Back to Dragged Across Concrete, though, where that's honestly, that refers to the pace more than anything that happens in the movie, because that's exactly what it feels like, is you're being dragged across concrete.
Yeah.
And you know it's leading towards something awful.
Yeah.
And it's this like Mexican standoff that goes on for what, like 45 minutes?
Yeah.
And it's the tensest thing.
Yeah. And you don't. Yeah, because one group is so skilled, but they're kind of down, and the other group is like you've been rooting for, but they're struggling too, and everybody's kind of
it's crazy good.
Everybody's been brought to an even playing field.
But that's what I like about it.
Yeah, it's insane. It's slow, but you don't realize it, and it's just masterful.
What's the next movie on your list?
My number 4 is foreign, actually. It's Shadow.
Oh, Shadow's great. It's on my honorable mentions. I just forgot to bring it up.
Shadow slaps.
Shadow does slap. I didn't expect that to be that high.
Shadow.
Why is it so high on your list?
Because it's badass.
It is badass.
And it's really well made, other than the exposition, which wasn't good but wasn't bad.
Sword umbrellas, man.
It was just.
Yeah.
It was just. Could have been done maybe like one more draft of the script or something. I don't know. But
just for the first half, though. last half of that movie.
Sword umbrellas.
Yeah, who thought of that?
And then they ride down on it. The cinematography is insane.
Why
Everything is insane.
It should have been nominated for cinematography. It's
people just didn't see that movie.
The grayscale color palette in that movie rocks, especially when the swords start clashing in the
I've
third
never
act.
been so interested in a color movie that uses black and white that well.
It used the Clint Eastwood color palette, but well, you know.
Yeah, it was sully but good.
Yeah. Where's Richard Jewell on your list? I don't. Where's that one? Where did that go?
Did not see Richard Jewell.
I didn't either.
Also didn't see Sully, and I didn't see the 1912 to Paris, and I just don't see his movies because they don't look good.
Is there anything else you want to say about Shadow? Because I guarantee you,
it.
no one
Just
listening
see it.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot about it for my honorable mentions.
I'm waiting.
And I was the one who was like, Robert, this guy makes pretty movies. Let's go see it. You know?
I had no interest in it. I didn't even know. I hadn't heard about it. It's on my honorable mention. We both recommend it. Please go on. It's on Netflix. Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting to find a 4K copy of it, but
you can all watch it on Netflix though.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's worth it.
Everybody has Netflix.
It's so good. Again, get over the 1-inch barrier. It's not that big of a deal. The story is good. The exposition isn't great, but after that, it still sucks you in either way.
It just took me a minute to get used to like how characters felt about each other and their relations to each other.
It was a little hard to.
But once, I bet if I watched it a second time, I'd like it a lot more. But I agree, it was just like, okay, so who is this person again? And it was a little bit muddled for like the first 30 minutes, but after that, it like sprints to the finish line. You know,
so good. Yeah,
it is really good.
What's your number 4?
1917.
Okay, we talked about that. Yeah.
Do you want to know what I like about 1917?
What do you like about it?
What surprised me is I thought it was going to be a lot more action-packed than it was. And it honestly felt a lot more akin to, like, slow-burn foreign films, in my opinion. Because, like, what I didn't really expect was for them to go, yeah, so he's going to float down the river, and the camera is just going to rest on his face as some petals fall on him. And we're going to do that for 4 minutes, you know? And it's like, I didn't really expect it to be as, like, meditative as it was. Yeah. And that's something that really caught me off guard. Yeah. It was meditative, but it was tense.
I loved the floating down river thing, too, because it was like, you could tell he was trying to relax after all of this shit that's happened. And he starts to drown because he fell asleep. Yeah. And it's just like, this guy cannot get a break.
And then he has to crawl over a bunch of... Like, that's another thing I loved about the movie, was how they were constantly just, like, crawling on corpses.
Yes. Oh, and, Jesus.
Yeah, it was excruciating, because it is literally, you watch people walk.
I think people forget how many people died in World War I.
They do, because of World War II.
You only think about World War II and the Holocaust and everything, which of course should not be overshadowed.
No, it shouldn't.
Or under I don't know what to say. But
you should talk about both, because it's like the movie really did floor me, because Roger Deakins.
Yeah, he's a beautiful, beautiful man.
I don't need to say anything else.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I felt bad for all of these soldiers. But damn, that color palette is what I was constantly thinking through the entire movie.
Yes.
Because, like, the Burning Village sequence was, you know, like, oranges, reds, and blacks, and blues. And then it transitions into, like, this lime green, like, sandy sort of color palette, like, seamlessly. And it has, like, just strictly blue-colored cinematography, like, between the two. And it somehow, like, doesn't feel jarring. And it, like, smoothly transitions between that. And it floored me. Like, and the performances, like you said, are fantastic. Like, I teared up a little bit at that one scene you were talking about.
I did too.
And I was tense through the entire thing, and I got one good jump out of it, and it was with the rat in the tunnels.
Oh shit! Yeah, that scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I jumped.
I jumped too. Yeah.
Yeah, like it terrified me.
My ass is like completely out of the seat.
Yeah,
like I literally jumped.
It floored me.
It was spooktacular.
What is the next movie on your list?
Number 3.
What is that? It's Peanut Butter Falcon. Sorry.
No.
Okay, what is it?
It's The Irishman.
Oh, wow.
I'm so glad I made the effort to see this in a theater.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to experience this in my cracked in basement or whatever, trying to focus on a small screen. The cinematography is like a reflection of the whole movie, because it's like simple, it's beautiful, but it's like kind of, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. It's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking movie.
It is.
It doesn't do the whole Goodfellas or Casino thing of the first half is like, look how fun it is to be in the mafia. It's like the whole movie is like, don't join the mafia, guys.
Because guess
don't get
what?
involved with
all
people
your
who
friends,
are doing this illegal.
Yeah. All your friends are going to die, and you will be alone, and you can't tell anyone about anything, and your family will fucking hate you. The movie.
And the fact that he gives him that ring,
yeah.
It's like 3 people in the world have this, and that's like solidifies that he's not going to tell anybody about what happened.
Yeah.
And it's just, it
hurts.
Yeah. It hurts, but it's beautiful, and it's sad, and it's interesting, and
it's weirdly meta too.
Yeah.
Which is another thing I didn't expect going into it, but it really did feel like Martin Scorsese making his movie about movies at times, and that's something I didn't really think that would be present.
And I like how the scene where Jimmy gets mad about, I can't think of his name. He has the big sunglasses and he's late and he's wearing shorts and everything.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the scene, the line that De Niro says about the in between. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, I think 15 minutes is too much or whatever. And they go into the whole thing. Al Pacino and all of them argue. And then Robert De Niro says, what about 7.5 minutes? That was improvised. Yeah. Because the arguments apparently, like, I don't know, in the script, they, like, just kind of go off onto something else. They just change the subject. Yeah. But that was ad-libbed, fun fact. But
that's
anyway.
Cool. I didn't know that.
It's an insanely impressive movie. Yeah. And talk about seamless, the de-aging.
Yeah, it's great. There's a couple scenes where you're like, that's a young De Niro on old De Niro body. It's expected. Yeah. Like the bit where he like kicks the guy on the curb, I'm like, that's old De Niro with young De Niro head. Like but the facial stuff in that movie is insanely cool. Insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And for they didn't have that much to make the movie. Yeah. Like the budget wasn't insane.
About halfway through I can't really tell when they are or, aren't using the de-aging technology. Yeah. Or is this the budget?
Oh, well, they had quite a bit.
Yeah.
They would have had to, but still, like...
Yeah, but that's why no one would fund it, is because Martin Scorsese originally asked for $200 million to make the movie, and their next question was, Martin, how long is it? Yeah. And he was like, 3.5 hours of watching old man De Niro walk around. And
but he didn't even get the full 200, but he got enough. He did 159 million.
He got the job done.
Yeah, he made a modern classic is what he did, and that's exactly what that movie is. He sure
did. Yeah. So that's your number 4 or 3?
That's my 3.
Your 3?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3 is Marriage Story.
I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's fine. This is one where it's...
clips. I've seen bits.
I wish I could have seen this in the theater. Yeah. So I turned off my phone while watching it, and the 2 performances in this film are 2 of the best performances I have ever seen in my entire life, because both of them have been in Marvel properties and Star Wars properties, and I forgot that I was watching Black Widow and Kylo Ren going through a divorce, and I sobbed 3 times while watching it, because the first scene is there's a bit where Scarlett Johansson is trying to explain why she's getting a divorce to Laura Dern, who is her lawyer. Laura Dern in this movie, by the way, my God.
Laura Dern's been knocking out of the park recently.
She rocks in this movie because she sort of plays like this lawyer that you can tell is taking advantage of Scarlett Johansson so she can get money, but she comes off as nice, and Scarlett Johansson like buys into it, and it's like nails on a chalkboard, and it's the worst. But there's the scene where she's trying to explain why she wants to, this is fairly early on in the movie, why she wants to divorce Adam Driver's character, and she just really can't come up with a good explanation, but she's going to go through with it anyways. And it's just like the camera just like rests on her and she just sort of talks and it's one of the best, it's some of the best acting I've ever seen. I think she should win the Oscar, but she didn't play Judy, so, she won't. But that's okay. Yeah, because, Hollywood likes to jerk it to Hollywood, but,
Yeah.
Because...
and I should have brought this up with Jojo Rabbit, but now's a good time, too. I love that Scarlett Johansson is acting again. Yeah. Because she's fine in the MCU. Everybody's... Yeah. Most people stand out a lot more than she does. She does great in Endgame, and then every other movie she's just kind of okay. She's just a tough lady. I
Yeah.
mean, she does her job, and she, who would turn down that role, honestly?
She's a fantastic actress.
But she really is insanely talented.
Like I said, I forgot it was Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
And that's the best thing I can say.
Yeah. It's like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Mm-hmm. You forget it's them. Yeah. They become the characters because they act so well.
Mm-hmm. Like and then like Adam Driver as well, because it's
Adam Driver's one of the best actors working today.
One thing I liked about Marriage Story quite a bit was it's like there's Kramer versus Kramer, right? Which won Best Picture, and it's like that movie is based around argument scenes. Marriage Story has one, and you just feel them like boiling to it the entire time, you know, and it's honestly more effective because they're not yelling at each other through the entire movie because they're trying to make
it old.
Yeah, they're trying to make it work so their kid is happy.
Yeah.
And it's like that just makes it like hurt that much more. And it's like from a screenwriting perspective, I don't think you can write a movie like better than that is like dialogue based.
Yeah.
Cuz like the hardest dialogue to write is like what's being said isn't what they're thinking. And that's like that entire movie except for the argument scene, and that's why it hits so hard. And it's not like the climax either. Like that's before the third act and then you go into it. But it's like it impressed the shit out of me because I knew I was going to like it. I just didn't because I didn't expect to just forget I was watching those two actors, and I just bought into the fact that they were people.
Well, and people have been talking about it a lot too, so you kind of go into the thing like, all right, has this been overhyped or whatever?
And it's like pretty much all I heard about it was like you just have to be in the right mindset. Yeah. And so that's why it took me so long to watch it. Like I didn't watch it for like a month after it had come out because I was like, I need to be like in the right mental state to like sob 3 times apparently. Yeah. And so I didn't think I was going to cry because I thought I was like prepared, you know?
Right.
And then Scarlett Johansson had that scene and I was like, no.
Yeah. And Scarlett Johansson's powerful, man. She's really good when she's good. She's one of my mom's favorite actresses, and when she told me that I was like, really? And then I saw Jojo Rabbit, and I'm going to see Marriage Story soon. Yeah. And it's just, she's been blowing everybody away.
Marriage Story is going to be on the Criterion along with The Irishman before the end of 2020.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. I cannot wait to get The Irishman because it's probably they might even master it in 4K. So that'd be wonderful to watch on a 4K television.
Randy Newman's score in Marriage Story, the guy who does all the Pixar stuff.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, a lot of people have been talking about that.
He should get best score at the Oscars, but I'm the Joker, baby, will get it. But, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Randy...
Which also had a great score.
Yeah. I've listened to Randy Newman's Marriage Story score a couple times a week. Like, it's...
Oh, shit.
It's gorgeous. Like, don't listen to it till you've seen the movie, because it's one of the most beautiful movies I have ever seen. But what's your number 2?
Well, one of my biggest regrets of 2019 was not seeing this in the theater more than once.
Oh, what was it?
It's Ad Astra.
Oh, wow.
That's
really high.
Fucking love Ad Astra.
Okay.
I love Ad Astra.
Mm-hmm.
It's the science fiction movie I've been waiting for a long time because I nutted over Interstellar, and then after a few more viewings I was like, wow, this story is actual garbage. Mm-hmm. This script is terrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
Great visuals, but it's now just a movie that people use to make themselves feel intelligent and important by saying that they like. Mm-hmm. That's correct. That's not an opinion. I'm sorry, but like hot take. I think Ad Astra is just so profound. And I've been waiting for a movie like this for so long, and it's just I can't find anything I don't like about it. And I love all the performances. Tommy Lee Jones is actually trying, which is nice because he hasn't been in a ton lately, but when he is in something, he's just kind of...
I'm Tommy Jones, and I'm here to get my paycheck. Right. Thank you. Yeah. I guess I'll go to space this time.
Yeah. No, he's... And he like has to be somebody who's kind of crazy, and he does it. He pulls it off. And Brad Pitt pulls everything off really well. And this movie takes so many twists and turns, but it's slower. Yeah. It's kind of... It's not like Dragged Across Concrete slow, but it's still slow.
It is.
It ain't Star Wars.
Oh, God, no.
And it ain't even Interstellar.
A lot of people went in thinking it was going to be action-packed, and I'm like, I don't envy the experience you had watching Ad Astra if that's what you thought you were getting into.
No. Because the ads didn't make people believe it was that. I mean, they showed some, like the shootout on the moon. Like, that was definitely to keep people awake if that was not their type of sci-fi. But I'm a slut for sci-fi.
Yeah, I know.
And so, but good sci-fi is
and you finally
so
got
hard
one.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while.
First Man is disappointing.
I hate it's not sci-fi, but it's a space
it's not.
movie. I hate First Man.
It's brilliantly shot,
Yeah.
but all they talk about is the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't that.
No.
You cared about everybody, and Liv Tyler was not
Yeah.
in most of the movie, which is good because
Yeah.
she's awful. I'm sorry.
I didn't know
not a
you
good
liked
actress.
Ad Astra this much.
I just don't talk about it because
No.
nobody talks about it.
No.
And I love Ad Astra. I'm waiting to get that on 4K too.
Yeah.
Probably next paycheck or something. But
I liked it.
I love Ad Astra.
I liked it.
It's what I've been waiting for so long.
That's the biggest surprise for me on your list so far.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be Midsommar being 6.
No.
But
I did not expect that because I like Ad Astra up until the end. That's the one.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't my favorite either. The ending
Yeah.
isn't amazing.
Well, no, it's like the ending. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if I were writing that script, it would be on like my list of like ways I could end it.
Mm-hmm.
It just I would probably like cross it out and go with another one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I get it, and I get that the point is that the ending is kind of underwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they want you to feel. But yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
you liked it. I just didn't know you liked it that much.
Yeah, and my list could change. I still haven't seen a
Yeah,
lot
for
of
sure.
movies, but
yeah, no, I didn't expect that. It's a great movie though.
yeah.
Cinematography is
It's
gorgeous,
Just, it's Roger Deakins level. It
is.
absolutely insane.
and it's not nominated.
Yeah, again, another movie that's like, oh, it didn't come out in the last few months. I guess we can just forget about it.
Yeah, 2019 was really the year for like cinematography sluts because like almost every movie I saw, I was like, this movie's gorgeous, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
and-
really took their time.
Yeah, like-
because I think people have found out that people are starting to pay attention to that, especially people who don't know a lot about movies.
Everyone
and if
except
they
for
want,
Clint Eastwood.
And if they want to talk to somebody about movies,
Yeah.
they have something to
Yeah.
mention. Shot, reverse shot.
Yeah.
That's so uninteresting.
It is.
But I also made this list today, so
Yeah.
things could change.
I-
But
yeah.
that's just it's based on feeling, and
Okay.
I just love.
Yeah, I didn't know
movies
you
so
liked
much.
it that much. I'm glad
Yeah.
you did though, because it's
Yeah.
like you said, good sci-fi is rare,
Yeah,
and it is a really good
thoroughly
sci-fi
good
movie.
sci-fi. Not sci-fi that like a whole act is garbage,
Yeah.
because that's kind of what we have now. It's like there's one act or two acts that are just fantastic, and
Yeah.
then you have one or two acts that are just abysmal.
Yeah.
Like now we're going in this direction. Like pick a road.
Like The Rise of Skywalker, where the second act is the best part of that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Okay.
I'm done with Star Wars for a while.
Yeah.
Like the new Star Wars. I love it.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm tired of talking about that. Jesus.
Baby Yoda.
I'm so.
My number
I'm
one
done.
movie of the year is Baby Yoda.
Right. So what's your number 2?
Have I not said my number 2 yet?
No.
Oh, it's Midsummer.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's what it is. I love that movie.
It's really good.
Because, like I said, not enough people they just sort of undermine how much he accomplished with that, because it's like breakup movies are hard to make because no one likes them, you know, because everyone likes to see the love blossom, you know, and the end.
They want to be taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ending moments of that movie are some of the most gorgeous looking things I've seen, and some of the most like profound things I've seen. And
Yeah.
the ending shot of that movie speaks volumes, because Florence Pugh's like facial expression
Right.
in that ending could have come
Her
across.
facial acting is so
Holy
good.
crap! Yeah, she gives my favorite performance of 2019.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like an unpopular opinion.
I don't know.
Her
Maybe
and
talk
Scarlett
to-
Johansson are tied than Adam Driver for throwing everyone into the same pool, and then Brad Pitt underneath that. Like that's my favorites.
Yeah,
but it's
those-
like
yeah.
you felt her being in this relationship and not wanting to be in it, and it ends in
Right.
like the most fiery, brutal way it can.
And minor spoiler, if you told somebody, if somebody knew what about that movie was that it was a breakup movie, which technically it is a breakup movie.
Technically is.
They would be very surprised at the ending being a man and a bear being burned alive.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Like,
And it's like, I don't know if you know this, but like in the bit after, the camera zooms into the snowy window and then it zooms back out and it's like sunny again and she's taking a nap, right? She has like a painting of like a little princess like taming a bear behind her, which is kind of cool.
I knew that would come back.
It did, though.
I watched that and then I forgot about it, but I was like, that painting's going to come back, because there's going to be a bear somewhere in here.
That's what Ari Aster does so well, is like his movies are so detailed.
Yeah.
And you can rewatch them countless times and pick up on so much shit.
Yeah.
But
because didn't somebody find in Hereditary, the opening shot, there's somebody in the forest?
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Which is insane. Yeah. And you don't see it your first time.
Because he hides so much. And it's like, you can break down every shot of Midsommar because of like all the paintings, the like calligraphy, like everything. But what's your number one movie of the year?
Well, I was just going to say about Midsommar one more thing.
Okay.
I love how the deaths are so justifiable.
Yeah.
How everybody except Danny is just a total piece of shit.
And it's just her like executing her will onto all of them. Like, you are sentenced now.
Yes. She found her people in the least
expected
place. Thank you.
It's a satisfying movie.
Yeah,
it's such a good ending.
The guy pisses on the sacred tree, and then they turn him into a scarecrow or whatever. Like it's just it's satisfyingly awful, and it's so much.
It's what he accomplished was crazy. But what's your number one movie of the year, Robert?
Oh, I bet you'll never guess. It's just
Cats.
The movie that I saw 5 times in theaters, and love. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
What did you like about it?
Oh, just everything.
Okay, cool.
You could call that movie the Robert movie.
It
takes place in 1969.
They listen to records.
It takes place in Hollywood. They listen to classic rock the whole time. Which, okay, that last part is a Quentin Tarantino staple, but he also does pick a lot of more obscure modern-ish music as well. And then just, I love hangout movies. I love, because I like learning about people and what they do and things like that. And it's just, and again, and I have a lot of empathy for people. And, and the whole Sharon Tate story really breaks my heart. And I watched Valley of the Dolls after I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's definitely not a perfect movie.
Oh, God, no.
The last 20 minutes of that movie are awful. But everything before that, I think, is really interesting and really good. And Sharon Tate had such potential and everything. Anyway, I don't want to linger too much on that. But I don't know. It's just, it's so good. And I love everything about it. And I could watch it every single day of my life. And that's,
Okay.
What's your number one?
Cats.
Let's talk about Cats for the next 2 hours.
Okay, sounds good. No, my number... Cats. My number one movie of the year is Parasite. Sorry to be a basic bitch, but that's at the top.
At least you can admit it. That's
fine. I can, because it's number one on a lot of lists. That and Uncut Gems for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only things I knew about Parasite going into it, since it hadn't had its like wide US release yet, so like a lot of people that I would know that would put it on the top of their list, they hadn't seen it yet, I literally knew that there was this like old Asian man going, the best plan is no plan, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll go see the movie.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, and we both like Okaya, and you like some of his other movies.
Snowpiercer, Mother, and...
I still haven't seen those.
They're all great, and The Host, but it's like Bong Joon-ho was always a director that was like on my radar.
Yeah.
But he was never one where I was like, I wouldn't put him up with like the Scorsese's and the Tarantino, like the best of the best yet. You know, where I was like, I always knew he was going to make something that was going to kick ass eventually.
Right. But Parasite is like his it's his Pulp Fiction.
It's his magnum opus.
Yeah.
This movie is going to be talked about for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's like Ari Aster's movies, where it's like I've seen it a bunch of times and it is immaculate. Like every detail he puts into it is consistent through the entire thing, because like I'm not gonna get into spoilers, because like I said, people are watching this now because it's up for Best Picture. Whereas with Midsommar, we can like for example, like the lights on the stairs like turning on and off is consistent throughout the entire movie. Like there's not a single continuity error through the entire thing.
You can tell he's learned a lot through the other movies he's made.
And you can tell this is just a guy who loves making movies, because it's about class.
Yeah.
But it's
fun.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not like Joker where Joker's not very entertaining. Like, I don't know what Joker is, but
I find Joker entertaining. It's just it's such an obvious.
It's a little too heavy-handed for me, and it's like I can't quite tell if the guy making it likes making movies. Whereas with like Parasite, it's like you can tell this is all this guy wants to do.
Yes, because he knows how fortunate he is to be able to be in this circumstance where he can do this for a living, which every director should know and have that mindset.
And it's like he took what he learned by making 2 American films and applied it to like the South Korean like tropes. And that's why it's probably up for Best Pictures, because it's like 50-50. It
is.
Because there's like enough American stuff in it. Yeah. But there's enough foreign stuff in it.
If you've seen little to no foreign movies, it's a wonderful introduction.
It should, because like I said, it's going to be talked about like forever.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like a Seven Samurai thing, where it's like if you haven't seen foreign movies, it's a great place to start.
It's a modern. It's one of the few.
It's a modern classic for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the few movies I've seen recently where I'm like, yep, it's a classic. Like right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's like that. Once Upon and The Irishman, like, I think are instant classics.
It's going to be a film school movie too, just because of the editing.
Yes,
the editing is insane. Editing in that movie hurts me because it's like the peach scene. Like he tells an entire like mini subplot story in 50 shots, which is insane, and he introduces like new narrative elements within like 4 minutes, and it doesn't feel jarring, which is crazy. And the entire movie is like constantly moving forward, like it never shuts down, you know? And the acting in that movie too is incredibly underrated. I'm glad it got like Best Ensemble at the SAG Awards, like over Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and like The Irishman, because I'm like the guy who plays the dad in that movie.
I think the ensemble cast is insanely well done.
Because everyone is on their A game in it, and most of them haven't been in a movie before, and I buy into everything they do, and they're asked to do a lot of weird shit.
Well, everybody in Once Upon is on their A game too.
They are.
But the cool thing about Parasite is everybody does feel like they're an actual family, which is the insane thing. Like, you really buy into these people being a family immediately.
The guy who played the dad should have been up for supporting actor. Like, I love...
Which dad? The rich one or the poor one?
The poor one.
Yeah.
He
should have been up for supporting, or lead. I don't know.
Incredible in that movie. He's more of the main kid, like his son is like the lead in my opinion. But it's like the two standouts are like his sister and his dad. Yeah. They rock in that movie, to say the least. Yeah. But there you go.
And the dad provides wonderful comedic relief. I love how funny that movie can be.
Yeah, his facial expressions in the peach scene are incredible. Like the bit with the trash can, you know?
Yeah, he's really good.
But yeah, there we go. That's our top 10.